So I'm interested. I mean, I'm having this morbid curiosity. And this is an article from Entertainment Weekly that they did probably a while ago. I think this was after Star Wars Celebration, and they announced all the things that are now on hold right now. So who knows? Yeah, they announced their 3 movies and other shows. But they've been building towards this Thanos-like thing with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So myself in 2012 would have loved to have seen an adaptation of the Heir to the Empire trilogy. That was my dream, and a continuation of the stories of Han, Luke, and Leia onward to the next generation with their children. But Grand Admiral Thrawn is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. And the fact that they now decide to pull him in here, and they pulled him in before as the Rebels cartoon, which he looked so bad. I'm sorry, the art style looks so bad. Why does he have like a triple forehead? Can anyone answer me that? Why does Thrawn, the cartoon version, have 3 foreheads? He's got like this, above each eye has its own forehead. Why did they do that? And they did it very subtly. It's very subtle in the live action version, but he looks human. He's humanoid with just blue skin and glowy red eyes, but they had to change that anyways. But so their idea eventually is to do the Mando-verse film. That's what all the shows are leading to now. This thing has to lead to the next thing, and maybe that'll wrap up something in a satisfactory way. But this is the approach that they have towards this. In the Mando-verse movie, it's not Heir to the Empire. I know they said the word Heir to the Empire, but that's not what this is. They got rid of all those stories. The way they set up the world and how events progressed, it can't be Heir to the Empire anymore. So it's a new thing, completely new thing. And so their approach to this, Favreau says he and his partner try to channel their inner child. We joke that it's like we're playing with action figures, like what's in the box? Let's play with what's in the box. And that's what you do when you're playing and you're a kid. Which action figures they ultimately pluck out of the box will be determined by where the story takes them. As we are getting deeper and deeper into this, Favreau explains, you start to have to really map things out and figure out what that story is, and then have those characters fulfill what their growth cycle is and what their mythic hero's journey is. Those things have to fit together well, otherwise it won't feel like Star Wars. They're just making it up as they go, treating these characters like toys. And this is the thing, because I think how they started on this topic was, who are we going to see in the new Mando-verse movie? Who's going to be the next cameo? Who's going to be the next characters you're going to toy with? That's why I was saying, well, we're trying to make them fit, trying to see how they fit. For Favreau, I mean, he started with Iron Man. He was there when they actually built towards the Thanos storyline at the very beginning. And he should know that you don't start with a line of characters and trying to see how they all fit together. Tell the story. Conceptualize a story that you want to tell, and whether or not other characters that are known come in, okay. But you have to have a story to tell first. But going from the approach from the outset of the characters, let's see what can fit into this. That's what it's going to come across as to audiences. Like you're just using characters for, I don't know, some sort of fleeting moment of joy. Oh, yay, that person's there. Great. But if the story isn't good, then what does it matter? And that's what I feel like with Ahsoka. I mean, you have Grand Admiral Thrawn, great. Unfortunately, his introduction was extremely poorly executed and was very unsatisfying. And not just for him, but for all the characters too. But if you're going from the standpoint of just having everyone there, and that's the important thing, right? Yeah, every one of my professors always says plot. Not ideas, not characters. It's the plot must always come first. You can have a destructive kid who just wants to break the toys. He could be Sid from Toy Story. Oh my goodness, what if they're Sid? And you have the baby doll's head on the metal spider contraption. The characters are easier to sell, so we're basically in corporate land now. And that's another thing too, because of course merchandising has been a part of Star Wars since its genesis. But it was because the story was good. That's why people bought the merchandise. It was icing on the cake for them. Yeah, I don't understand why so many Star Wars channels were like, oh my god, Thrawn's entrance was epic AF. It was mid at best. Oh man. If you haven't, I highly recommend the books, the now termed legend, now deemed legend stories. But yeah, listen to the audiobook, Heir of the Empire, recently. I read them first several times years ago, but I hadn't listened to the audio, I think, until very recently. And those are so good. They're called audio dramas, I think. They have sound effects, they have music, and Mark Thompson, he is the voice of Thrawn for me. He is amazing. He does such amazing voice work in that. But Thrawn's introduction, just listening to it, it instills fear. It instills mystery, and it's so powerful and so well done. So when you compare it to what we got, fortunately, in live action, yeah, it just doesn't compare. And I just wish they didn't use it, because obviously you beg comparison. This is one of the most famous characters in Star Wars, and you're gonna pluck him out to use to play with for your show without any thought to how you're gonna incorporate him, to how you're gonna introduce him. The way they introduced him too, if you know nothing about Thrawn, if you know nothing about the Rebels show, it was very clunkily done. They just referred to him as this person to be feared, but why would the audience at that time know why he was to be feared? Unless you watched Rebels, I guess, because that's the canon that they're continuing with. And they just talked about him. I mean, Moff Gideon was good. Why'd they abandon him? That was another really good antagonist that they just abandoned because, well, we got to make way for next thing. We're building for the Avengers, so we got to get rid of that. We got to wrap up Mando's story and move on to the epic team up. And we're going to play with that.